Gate 14 podcast, and I'll be honest with you, we're coming at you live here. The vibes couldn't be at an all-time high. The Jays just won, but emergency podcast. Emergency podcast had to be made for the people. Everyone was asking for it, so we're going to do it for you guys. It's going to be a short one. Alek Manoah has been sent down to the Florida Gulf Coast. I don't know what it's called. The Florida Complex League. Tough day for Blue Jays Nation when your opening day starter is sent down to literally the lowest part of the minor league system. Not ideal. Avery, how you doing, buddy?
I was sad, disappointed that it had come to where we got with Alek Manoah, but I think it's the right move. We had commented on this 2 weeks ago where I said Buffalo would do him no good.
Yep.
And I still believe that to this day. And we can kind of go into why we think the complex league will be better for him. So the difference is Buffalo, New Hampshire, like where all the other teams are, they don't have the facilities and the people around.
Quite frankly, they have dog shit facilities.
100%.
Yeah.
And they have so many more people at the complex. So this is just, it's not even real teams. Like it's the Florida Complex League Blue Jays is where he got assigned to. And I'd honestly be shocked to see him pitch more than one game there.
I think so. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a example, like, because Bryson explained this to me. So what it is it's like kind of a pitching lab, right, Avery? That's like the best way to describe it. It's like a pitching lab where you have these designated coaches for you. This is where people go to rehab after Tommy John, right? This is where they go to rehab their stuff, and they're working around physicians, and they're working around like pitching coaches, they're working around everything. And it's just you there with a catcher, and you have a shit ton of like computers and everything around you. It's like a Spider-Man. I don't even know how to describe. I'm not a hero guy, but it's like a futuristic type of thing where you just have a shit ton of cameras on you. You have a shit ton of coaches working with you, and they figure out what is going on with you. Just to give you guys an example, Mackenzie Gore did this. I don't remember when he did this, but he did do this. I think it was time with the Padres, maybe. And now he's absolutely carving. I mean, he's all the way back. This is the best opportunity due to the fact that you send him down to AAA. What could he possibly be doing? Like, what is the pitching coach down there better than what we have with the big club? Like, he's still facing good hitters. His confidence is not going to change. People are going to still be spinning on that slider, not swinging at it. It's best to go and just start back from phase one, like you're recovering from Tommy John. That's the best way to approach this, right?
I almost tend to disagree because he's midseason. This team needs him. Like he's gotten his pitch count up for months now, so that is fine. But I almost think it's more of a health mental thing reset than it is back in a pitching lab, pitch shape, that type of thing for him. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of route they go and how they try and get this back on tracks as soon as possible, because I think it's someone who's not hurt, but he can't throw. He has no idea why he can't throw hard.
This is my, yeah. That's a good point.
You know, people like this who just randomly out of nowhere. It's like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I feel fine. I can't. The velo's not there anymore, and there's nothing he thinks he did differently. He maybe doesn't look like he was in great shape, but I can tell you he fucking worked hard to get himself ready for the season.
Yeah, and the people saying like he just was partying in the offseason, celebrating what he did, that's just not who Alek Manoah is. You're just a fucking idiot if you think that. So save it with the Alek Manoah just didn't care this offseason bullshit, because it's so dumb. It's so dumb. I partied this offseason. He didn't party. That's what I would do when I was in JUCO. I never hit in the offseason. I would just rarely hit, and that's why I'm a bum. But like this narrative that he just didn't care, he was like satisfied with the year he had, is just so dumb. That's just not the Alek Manoah that we all know.
No, there's a reason he got to the spot he was in, being a Cy Young guy, and that's working hard. Like, guarantee you nothing might have changed. I bet he probably did more stuff than last year. It's just how baseball is. It's kind of a humbling sport that you hear the old guys say all the time. You don't see it. And then I don't think when people say, oh, he was cocky, whatever, he deserved to be a little bit cocky. He was fucking really, really good. And then you come back and you have no idea how to explain what's gone on to you. So I think he's in one of those situations where my velo's down, my pitches aren't moving like they used to, but nothing's changed. So it might be, I won't even like put it on a mental thing. It's so odd and one of the intricacies of baseball that are tough to find.
Well,
out.
let's compare his pitches, right? So his four-seam fastball, 92.8 miles an hour average this year. Last year, 93.9. So that's a 1.1 mile an hour difference. That's a significant.
And that is a big difference when you're at the bottom of the velo zone too, right?
Yes.
Like you're going from 94 to 93 on average and you're at the bottom of it. It's like going from 90 to 89.
Obviously,
like
so just exactly so everyone knows, like,
but it's like that's not going from 100 to 99. Like you're still at the top threshold when you're throwing that hard. He doesn't throw that hard. So again, that when you're losing velo at the bottom end of a velo like range, that's not good. It's not going to help you. But
just looking at, I mean, like the pitches are the exact same. Like his four-seam velo's a 1.1, which is a significant amount. His changeup is 0.4 difference. Slider is kind of the same. Slider is kind of the same. It's like a 0.6 difference, miles per hour difference, with the same drop pretty much. Like everything has the same vertical movement, horizontal movement. So it's just, I think in my mind, man, it's just, I hate to say it because Hubs was right with it. It has to be just the adjustment to the pitch clock. And
I don't see, I have a tough time.
But if you look at the stats last year, he was one of the slowest pitchers. It's definitely playing a little bit of a factor. I'm not saying the big picture factor. I'm not saying the big picture. It's definitely playing a little bit of a factor with it. It has to be.
I don't think it's a nothing burger at all. I think there's a little bit to it, but you can't tell me that takes spin off your slider and makes it move less because it just doesn't happen, man.
I was watching MLB Network and Mark DeRosa. I know it wasn't Mark DeRosa. Sorry, it was Plezak, I think. He made a good point where Alek Manoah's slider last year would look like it was starting at the bottom part of the zone and it would just fall off the table. And now it's just never in the zone. That's the point that he was making with it. Like the starting point of it was there. And he's just not setting himself up to be able to use that slider because he was most efficient using that slider in like a 1-2, 0-2, 2-2 count. He's always behind in the count now. So you can't throw that put away pitch and have people offer at that because it's usually a 2-1 or 3-1 count where they could just spit on it and don't have to worry about swinging at that, right? So
do you think he has the yips?
Hard to say. It's really hard to say.
You hate to have to use that word in professional baseball, but his walk numbers, how do they get to this point?
I think it has to be him not getting ahead.
That is the issue. Quite literally, he can't throw strikes. How do you go from being an attack the zone contact guy to walking that many people? There's an underlying issue here that is missed.
Another good thing that I saw brought up on a Twitter thread, I don't remember who tweeted it, but Alek Manoah was like backing away from his pitches. Last year, if you would watch him throw, his momentum, everything was like going towards the plate with all that type of stuff. And now he was throwing it scared, or I guess you can maybe speak on this as the pitching standpoint. He was trying to place baseballs instead of throw them. I don't know if that's just like galaxy brain thing that I'm saying here, but it just, I don't know what it is. I truly don't, but it sucks, especially when it's a guy last year that gave you so many good memories, man. He was so good last year, man. Like I said in my TikTok, all of my good memories are watching Alek Manoah last year, besides the wild card, obviously.
A concerning trend from last season is pitchers in the top 10 innings pitched list.
Yeah.
And how they've done this season. And it has not been good at all. Some guys like that, Garrett Cole, Merrill Kelly was in there, Alek Manoah was in there, and Dylan Cease. These are guys who Sandy Alcantara was another one too. There's 5 of the 10. There's some other ones I forgot. I tried to pull up a list, couldn't find it here. But there's been some concerning numbers. Garrett Cole hasn't been the same. Dylan Cease certainly hasn't been the same. Alek Manoah not even the same. Sandy Alcantara not the same. I think everyone's maybe not Garrett Cole-ish, but
Yeah.
everyone's kind of got to be disappointed for guys who carried the load of rotations last season. It's very, very odd how the decline of the years before has hurt them. And maybe that's pitch clock wise of guys who are tired, but I don't know, man. It's really tough. If we knew how to fix Alek Manoah, we wouldn't be podcasting for free on Wednesday at 9:45.
It really, man, it's just it's such a sad, it's such a sad situation.
So
but
do you have hope for him this season?
Of course I do, man. Of course I do. Like this season, I don't know. I really don't know when he's going to be back. I don't know how long you could treat it as. But for the listeners that don't know this, the Jays can get away with using a 4-man rotation for the entire month of June here. They have 2 off days or 3 off days that are allotted to where they can give the pitcher their normal rest. They would only need to use this so-called Bowden Francis or bullpen day 2 times the entire month. So that's something that they've handled with that. So they get lucky with that. So it does give Manoah an entire month to figure it out. I don't know what you do. Like, do you bring him up through does he go level to level, Avery? Like, what do you do here?
I think him pitching in the complex league does nothing for him, because I said this hypothetical. You get 18-year-olds out in the complex league with Alek Manoah's stuff, as long as he doesn't walk people. I think that's pretty easy thing to say. And then say they just bring him back to the big leagues, or instead of letting him go to AAA, 1 appearance, and he gets shelled his first start. You just wasted a whole month. No good has come from it. So this is a tough situation. I almost think he pitches like twice in the complex league, gets the pitch count up, and just comes back.
You throw him into the fire, though?
But I think it'll take a bit for him to throw his first complex league outing.
Well, okay. Would you rather start him in AAA or the complex league? Because the complex league hitters are 1, unpolished, 2, no discipline, 3, just raw talent. I would rather throw him in AAA.
I mean, and he gets shelled. What does that do for him?
Then he gets another start to figure it out, though. What if he gets shelled in the complex league?
Then it's just like, hey, you're not coming up anytime soon. Imagine getting called up to AAA. It's like, hey, Alec, you're almost back in the big leagues. You get shelled. You go back to Dunedin.
Yeah.
It is such an odd situation.
It's a really bad one. I don't know.
I think we see Alek Manoah drop 50, 40 pounds in the offseason.
You think so?
It has nothing to do with how he's pitching, really. But he's got to try and make a change somehow to show that he's serious about it. I don't think he actually has to do it. I think that's how he makes it up to the fans, to show that he's serious about getting better next year.
It's just one of the craziest drop-offs I've ever seen. And maybe can we start using the Roy Halladay comparison? Because no one's using that on social media.
I don't know the Roy Halladay act. Like,
Roy Halladay got sent down to the minors. We had like a 10 ERA, came back and turned into a freak. But like, can we just shut the fuck up with that comparison, everyone, please?
Well,
like they didn't have this crazy technology that we have now, right? Like they didn't have these freaks in these labs figuring stuff out like they did with Mackenzie Gore and shit like that, man.
Yeah, Mackenzie Gore could also not throw strikes. Yeah, he had a very tough time throwing.
And he figured it out though. He's been pretty good right now.
Yeah, no, he has.
Listen.
Wait, did he figure? Did they do the lab with the Padres or the Nats?
I'm pretty sure it was the Padres. But this is another thing that I wanted to bring up here. If you're Alek Manoah, you obviously feel terrible, right? Like you feel terrible, obviously, rightfully so. You let your teammates down and stuff like that. The only human being to blame for this is fucking Ross Atkins for having not 1 ounce of depth in the minor league levels. Not 1 ounce of depth. There is not one guy there besides Bowden Francis, who we'll see what happens, that is big league ready.
I think he only has 5 starts too, right?
Yeah, in case of emergency. This is the only guy you blame for this is fucking Ross Atkins for not doing shit with the depth. Not doing anything. If you look at the Jays 40 man, they have 12 infielders on their 40-man roster. 12 infielders, and you have these Hagen Danner or Dunner or whatever it is. You have Thomas Hatch on the 40-man. You have all these bums that have proven they
don't
can't
call
pitch.
Hagen Danner a bum.
Well, not him, obviously. He's a process. He's not big league ready, though. You have none of these big league guys that are ready in the ranks to come up and compete for you. The only depth signing you made was Drew Hutchinson.
And he opted out this week.
Exactly. So, like, this is on Ross Atkins for not, like, there's no depth. So let's say, God forbid, another pitcher goes down. What the fuck do you do?
Team's fucked. The Blue Jays are the only team in baseball that have only started 5 pitchers. Only team in baseball.
Yep. Terrible. It's not great, man. It's just not a good spot to be in. I really don't have words for it. It's just a lack of depth, lack of everything. It's bad. It's really bad. But going back to Alek Manoah, man, a guy. Does part of you also not feel bad just based off of the fact where he was so cocky? He's talking shit about Garrett Cole, talking shit about Yankee fans. Like he's coming at MLB Network guys for talking shit to him, and he just doesn't back it up. Like, where do you stand with that stuff?
Fine with it.
It's just a bad look, right?
It's just a bad look now. How are you going to tell a guy who finished top 3 in Cy Young voting last year that he's not allowed to talk shit? That he thinks he's going to be bad the next year? What makes him so good at that point was his ability to believe in his stuff and go out and compete. And that's part of your compete is talking shit. We saw it with Alek all the time last year.
Yeah.
And what was the stupid Michael Jordan quote? It's easy to talk shit while you're up.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing.
So, okay, this is a better question, I guess. When does Alek Manoah make his first start?
July 4th weekend.
July 4th? That is, how far is that from now?
Okay, I'll go.
No, we'll all guess it. Let's guess it. So you say
Canada Day weekend.
Canada Day weekend? Okay. I'm gonna go. Let's go prediction wise. You say Canada Day weekend. I'm gonna say July. I'm gonna say they ease him in July 7th against the Detroit Tigers. They ease him in. Give it a month and a bit. But listen, for the people that are going to be eager about this, it might go substantially longer.
This could be we could not see him the rest of the year.
Like, he could not figure it out, and like the confidence isn't there. They're trying to work on stuff, and it's just not figuring it out. Buckle in, everyone, because we have no idea. There's no timetable.
There's an MRI doctor visit in this trip to the Complex League. I don't
100%. There is going to be a lot of setbacks in this. It's not going to be he's going to get there and going to figure it out immediately. That's just not going to happen.
No.
So, just buckle up, everyone, and you can't be eager with this. It sucks. There's no depth. So now we have to just have pretty much a bullpen day every 5 days, which other teams have had. You can have the Jays lucky. I love Jay Jackson. I think Jay Jackson could be a good piece to have as an opener or just a long relief guy. So we'll see what happens with that, but it sucks. It's a tough place to be in. If you'd have told me that Yusei Kikuchi would have a substantially better ERA than Manoah, I would have called you a fucking idiot. But now we're really relying on Kikuchi to be decent in the 4 spot. Because if he's bad and then the bullpen's bad, that's just 2 really bad back-to-back appearances there. So we'll see what happens with that, man. But Avery, anything else? I mean, I'm trying to just figure stuff out here with him. I don't know. This is a really weird situation that I've never even seen besides maybe the Ricky Romero, but I was young then, so it's hard to
I wasn't tapped in. Ricky Romero went down and never came back, right?
Yes. He had a 5.31 or a 10, I think. It was a 10 or a 5.31. It was one or the other. I saw it on Twitter in 2009 and then never came back, which is crazy, which is wild. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. But we're obviously hoping Alec figures it out, man. This team is so much better when you have Alek Manoah a part of it and just carving and doing his thing. So, any last words, Avery? We'll talk to you guys on Thursday, man. Any last words, Dave?
Nope.
We'll talk to you guys Thursday. Love you guys, and let's win a series. Let's win a series, huh? Why not us?